Hello, this is Bill Zoller with the Wellness Warriors Ministry, and today we are going to discuss briefly the thyroid gland, a very important gland that has a relationship to many critical bodily functions. The thyroid gland produces two main hormones, and we will call them for this presentation T3 and T4. That's what you see on your lab results. They have some pretty fancy names behind them. These hormones help regulate many bodily functions, including your metabolism, the rate at which you use fats and carbohydrates. They help control your body temperature, and they influence your heart rate and help regulate the production of proteins. The thyroid gland also produces calcitron or calcitonin, a hormone that helps regulate the amount of calcium in your blood, another critical bodily function. The pituitary gland and the hypothalamus in the brain control the rate at which these hormones are produced and released by the thyroid gland. Having a goiter doesn't necessarily mean that your thyroid gland is not working normally. Even when it's enlarged, the thyroid may be producing normal amounts of hormones. It might also, however, produce too much or too little of this T3 and T4. A number of factors can cause your thyroid gland to enlarge. One of them is iodine deficiency. This iodine is essential for the production of these thyroid hormones. Secondly, Graves' disease. Goiter can sometimes occur when your thyroid gland produces too much thyroid hormone called hyperthyroidism. Thirdly, Hashimoto's disease. Goiter can also result from an underactive thyroid, hypothyroidism. Like Graves' disease, Hashimoto's disease is an autoimmune disorder. Fourthly, multinodular goiter. In this condition, several solid or fluid-filled lumps called nodules develop on both sides of the thyroid, resulting in an overall enlargement of the gland. A low-functioning thyroid can contribute to high cholesterol. Too much seaweed of any type may actually increase the risk for thyroid cancer because of the amount of iodine you'd be taking in. To talk about this seaweed a little bit more, one type of seaweed that we eat is called nori, N-O-R-I. One sheet of nori every day is okay. Also, a powdered product called dulse, D-U-L-S-E, is also fine to use. Kelp, a third type of seaweed product, may have too much iodine in it, so we would want to exercise caution if we use kelp with any regularity. The mineral iodine is important for thyroid function. Iodine-deficient soil is the reason why table salt is iodized. The World Health Organization recommends that we should average about 100 micrograms of iodine in our urine unless we are pregnant, and then that figure should be up around 150 micrograms. Those people with high triglycerides had, in one study, had a 35% increased risk for hypothyroidism, for low thyroid function. Because elevated triglyceride levels are often associated with poor dietary choices, this study demonstrates a potential mechanism for the prevention of hypothyroidism. In other words, we need to be on an optimally healthy diet. Poultry can be a factor here. Disorders of the thyroid gland can be prompted by consuming chicken and turkey. because these food products are infected with many transmissible toxic compounds. In another study, poultry workers had an excess of deaths from disorders of the thyroid gland. In the United States, vegetarians get sufficient amounts of iodine, but vegans, that is people who eat no animal foods, get only about 78.5 micrograms on average, which is not enough. Vegan women of childbearing age should supplement with about 150 micrograms of iodine daily. Dietary intake of products that contain PCBs and organochlorine pesticides often can develop thyroid disease because of consuming fish, meat, cheese, eggs, and dairy, and poultry. Food dyes can be a problem. Red number 3 specifically. Thyroid tumors in humans from red dye number 3 in food was found to cause about 1 in 100,000 cases of difficulties with the thyroid. Based on today's population, that would indicate that this red number 3 is causing cancer in about 3,000 people. So watch out for the foods with a lot of red dye in them, like maraschino cherries. So to get back to sea vegetables just for a minute, these sea vegetables like dulse that we mentioned, and kelp and nori have healing plant nutrients that are found nowhere else. They have great types of fiber in them, unique carotenoids, and polysaccharides, those are complex sugars, and various polyphenol defense compounds, each of which may have anti-cancer properties. Many healthy plant foods like flax, ground flaxseed, soy, and broccoli have what are called goitrogenic compounds, which can interfere with thyroid function in people who have marginal or inadequate iodine intake. So it's very important to get adequate iodine in your diet. So use iodized salt always, and you'll probably get all the iodine you need. The best source, however, is these sea vegetables we were talking about, or you can get it in a multiple vitamin. But do eat these seaweed products when you can. They are wonderful food, the dark green leafy vegetables of the sea. Sea vegetables also have a lot of vitamin B in them and a lot of minerals, especially trace minerals like iodine. Again, the problem with seaweed is that you can actually get too much iodine, and as we have said before, kelp tends to contain a lot of iodine, so be cautious with that. This dulse that I mentioned before is known as red sea lettuce, and when you look at it, what it looks like is chopped up red cabbage. It looks like chopped up red cabbage that's been cooked. And also dulse is an alkaline vegetable that is packed with iron and trace minerals. Keep in mind, the body likes an alkaline environment, so these are healthy foods. The fastest growing cancer in the United States is thyroid cancer. Iodine deficiency leads to cystic formation in the thyroid, so you develop cysts, and not only in the thyroid but in other endocrine glands also. It leads to hyperplastic tissue, which is a precursor to cancer. Iodine can stop cancer cell growth. The fancy word for that is apoptosis. It can stop cancer cell growth. Iodine is necessary for the thyroid to produce the hormones that activate the mitochondria in our cells. Mitochondria are the little energy-producing parts of the cell. Without this, we go from an oxygen respiratory metabolism to a sugar fermenting metabolism, which produces cancer. And so we can see the many vital functions of the thyroid, and we can see the importance of keeping our level of iodine in balance, and to having and to have an awareness every day when we eat that we're getting enough iodine but not too much. It's one of those issues where too little is a problem and too much is a problem. So we hope that today this information was helpful to you. Thank you for being with us.